Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Just as the title says, short and sweet. Sonic and friends, along with many others across Sega's more notable franchises, come together to face off on this racing game title from, good lord, 15 years ago? Even though I love Sonic, I passed on this back in the day and still haven't managed to pick it up until now. I've received a large amount of requests to play this, specifically as Big the Cat. Now, a challenge run featuring one of the most beloved characters in the Sonic universe? There's no way I could pass up this opportunity. Except, Big actually isn't the worst character. While it's true that Big isn't the greatest pick, he rides on a teeny motorcycle, and motorcycles in this game have the ability to boost after popping a wheelie. The amount of boosts you can get with him would be a little too OP, so he's out. This game is more balanced than what I'm used to playing, so finding a character that fits the challenge run criteria might be tricky. But maybe it's because I'm looking at single characters instead of a group. The ChuChus are another pick that I saw stirring up some negative buzz due to their low acceleration and handling, but there's a bit more to them than that. While testing out the ChuChus on stream, there was some back and forth discourse in my chat about whether or not they were truly the worst. Thankfully, I was put onto the Gotta Go Fast Sonic Racing Game speedrunning Discord by my friend Brandino. Through there, I chatted with some members and got a little more info on what makes the ChuChus so bad. Shout out to Mischievous, who provided me with some very valuable information that I'll show you here. Basically, they have good speed and boosts, but that's it. Their drift boosts, while decent in length, take too long to charge, and they're unofficially classified as a super heavy character, which means that they lose a lot of speed on inclines and random bits of loose geometry. They also have a large hitbox and are more prone to clipping into the ground and spinning out on nothing. Also unrelated, but the PC version was said to be insanely unoptimized and buggy, and it's the version I'm playing on. Why, Sega? Anyways, there you have it. The ChuChus it is. I began my run with them on Expert in the Grand Prix mode and experienced all of the things previously mentioned that made them so terrible. Except I was winning. Kinda effortlessly. The reason for this was the crazy length of their boosts. That and their all-star item is just way too good. That put me in a bit of a pickle. I wanted to make this video happen, but mowing through the competition surely wouldn't make for an entertaining watch. This challenge needed to be a bit more intensified, so I decided that I would restart and try to complete Expert without drift boosting, in-air tricks, or using an all-star item. So with the limitation set, let's see if you can beat Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing only using the ChuChus. I have a good feeling that if you're watching this video, you probably don't need to hear me get into my usual explanations on the gameplay before the start of the challenge, so I'll try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. In the Grand Prix mode, there are 6 cups with 4 tracks each. We're put up against 7 CPUs in every race, and points are awarded depending on your final placement, with the winner being whoever has the most points by the end. In each track, you can get items after passing through an item capsule. You have your usual kart racing offensive and defensive items, but every character has a unique all-star move that helps them catch up if they fall behind. Every character also has their own set of stats and vehicle type. I mentioned the bikes which allow for wheelie boosts, but this comes at the cost of being easily smacked around by other racers. There's also cars which are for basic kart racing gameplay, and hovercrafts, which can drive on off-road areas without losing speed and perform tricks faster than others. But hovercrafts have lower acceleration and handling. Before the race begins, you can select a song you want to hear, which is perfect because I love Sega's. We'll just restart the whole damn game. So the Steam version of this game loves to just randomly cut off all the audio more often than not before you begin a race. I tried everything to fix this and just had to accept that it would happen. You can just reboot the game, but you'll still be down to hopes and prayers that it won't happen again, even though it most definitely will. After resetting so I can listen to my precious Sonic R music, I began my challenge in the Chow Cup, starting at Whale Lagoon. This track is based off of Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes, and more or less serves as a beginner track of sorts, and it really showed me the beginnings of what I would be facing in this challenge. Taking away drift boosting makes these guys almost unplayable. Everyone will zoom past or clock you with items if you're close by. There's a few boost pads around, but not enough to help me get ahead. Thankfully, you can reset any race in a Grand Prix without penalty or being forced to go back to the beginning. This and some good RNG are gonna be needed. After resetting, I accepted 4 points in a 5th place spot to move on ahead and see how Icicle Valley fared for me. This track is Billy Hatcher themed, and honestly, I'm a little surprised to see this franchise get so much representation here. The track starts out by showing us a very obvious shortcut that has 3 boost pads inside. Perfect fuel for the rocket. Right after passing through the shortcut, the remainder of the track has 3 more boost pads to hit. I couldn't afford to miss any of these, and even with hitting them all, I was hardly a match for the top 3. In the final lap, I was blessed by Big the Cat shooting homing missiles at Shadow and Amigo, who were ahead in second and first, somehow missing me completely. But he had a third missile packing, and that bumped my first place streams down to 4th. With only 2 tracks left to go, Shadow was ahead with 20 points, leaving me in the dust with my measly 9. I've played enough racing games to know that this run was totally dead, even if I got first in the last 2 races, so I packed it up and tried again. I ended up taking a 2nd place finish in Whale Lagoon this time, and almost did the same in Icicle Valley, until I almost contended for first place after leaving that behind me, but after being introduced to this game's bonking mechanic, I failed to catch up and would have landed in 4th. After having tread through the Icicle Valley a few times now, the stars and planets aligned perfectly and allowed me to get first place. Even with 18 points, I didn't command a big lead, but it was much better than having only 9 going into Roulette Road. Oh boy, if they ever made a Sonic-themed casino in real life, I'd lose everything so fast. Hey, speaking of losing, Roulette Road was about as tough as walking away from a slot machine you've been at for hours that you're sure is going to hit a jackpot after just $20 more. The biggest reason for this are the continuous turns you have to make. The ChuChus cannot handle this normally. They need to drift. And while I can drift, I have to constantly go in and out of drifting to avoid holding it for too long so the boost doesn't activate. And that only works so well. There are springs along some of the walls that can be hit to bounce back into the track, but they're not very helpful. And of course, all of the CPUs are drift boosting to their heart's content, so getting a top spot would likely be heavily reliant on items with some luck sprinkled in. I eventually noticed that if you hold a drift for a while and then hit a wall, it'll deactivate the boost you charged up, but even with that, hitting the wall did more harm than good. I had been at this for a bit and began to think that it might be better to just throw this track away and accept a lower placement. I wasn't looking for much, just 3rd place, but every time I got close, something would keep me back. But after a while of being on the receiving end of items, walls, and clipping out of bounds for no reason, luck would finally be a lady that night, and I just barely got away with 3rd place. Okay, yes, that's good. Finally get the fuck out of here. Let's go. Even better, Amy, who was right behind me at the start of this race, placed 5th, allowing me to continue hanging on to the lead for dear life. Last up is Sunshine Tour, our first Samba de Amigo track. I've never played that series before, but wowee, this was one of the most colorful and lively tracks that I've ever seen in a racing game. The music was great too, but also heavily copyrighted, so gotta keep this one muted. Sunshine Tour was heaven compared to Roulette Road. Long straightaways, turns that don't require the strength of 10 oxen to pass through without hitting a wall, pure bliss. All I had to do was make sure that I placed in the top 2, or at least decently above Amigo and Amy. Oh, who has it? Not Amy Rose! After one reset, I slaughtered the majority of the competition, landing me a cozy spot in 2nd place and 1st overall on the podium by 2 points. And wow, these podium animations leave a lot to be desired. Next, we have the Graffiti Cup, with Shibuya Downtown as our first track. This one is based from Jet Set Radio, and I guess also real life. Things started out normal-like, until I hit a sick barrel roll in the air and forced a reset pretty early on.
Pretty smooth flying, Fox.
After righting my wrongdoings, I had a good time racing here. Probably could have had an even better time, but I was gifted an all-star item while in 3rd place on the first lap. Odd position to get this in, but regardless, since I'm not using these, I'm just kind of stuck with it until the race is over. There's at least a handful of boost pads here, so that makes up for being forced to lug this thing around. I almost took 1st place, but Big came out from behind me and proved why he wasn't worthy of being picked for this challenge. Kyrian Mansion is up now, some House of the Dead rep. I can't wait to hear the music option. I think it's awesome that they included this series here, but it's kinda silly how they cartoonify the zombies. I mean, I guess they definitely couldn't have put these guys in a family racing game, though they definitely missed a good opportunity to make Goldman a playable character.
to protect the life cycle.
Curian Mansion wasn't a hard track overall, but not being able to take advantage of trick boosts through the race put me in a tough spot. It's a good thing there's a decent shortcut on this track. It took a fair amount of resets to get into a good spot, and in the end, I settled for 3rd place, which still kept me in the lead by 2 points. The Sega silence carried over into Turbine Loop. For a track centered around one of Eggman's bases, this was very calm. I hit all the boosts and avoided those Eggman's robots, and pulled off 1st place no problem. Now last but not least, we have Treetops, a Super Monkey Ball track. If you didn't know, Super Monkey Ball is a motion-based game, and that unfortunately translates well here, because with my lack of proper motion, I was bumping into walls everywhere. I had some wiggle room and could finish in the top 3 to win, but the ChuChus' slippery wide turns turned this track into a wall-slamming fest, and that made it difficult to keep up even a 3rd place pace. Many crushing defeats and close calls later, I clocked Amigo in the 2nd lap, then got 2 good hits on Shadow, which let me pass him for 1st place. After that happened, everyone ignored me and got caught up in fighting each other. That aided in my surprising 1st place finish and gold on the podium. Bringing the game's music back to life once that was over, I kicked off the Egg Cup at Rampart Road, another snow level from Old Bill. This was a pleasant track for the ChuChus to rocket around in, and there's even a helpful shortcut with a couple of boost pads just waiting to be used. I was in 1st place in the 2nd lap, ready to take it all the way to the end, until bonking reared its ugly head again. Oh, what the One more reset after that due to sucking. I got 1st place with Eggman's sore loser attitude right behind me. Maybe he'll have home field advantage in Dark Arsenal. It has similar vibes as Turbine Loop. Avoid the robots, hit the boosts, and knock out those who try to pass you. Go ahead. Go ahead and pass. Boom. Tetris for Jeff. I got 2nd place here on my 1st try and scored another 2-point lead. Wait, how has this been close so often? In Jump Parade, I had an exceptional time driving through the city and not avoiding party balloons that slow you down. Imagine a real-life rocket being stopped by a little rubber and some helium.
No way! I can't believe this!
Overall, I had fun here. The race was as smooth as butter, and 1st place was mine. After having spent so much of my precious time in the casino, I'm back and ready to risk everything I own in Pinball Highway. This was nothing compared to Roulette Road. Almost like they wanted me to win so I'd come back and catch the gambling bug. It's a good thing for me that I know when to hold them and when to fold them. And hold them, I did. I hadn't brought this up yet, but in between load screens, Sonic pops up for a little Sonic Says segment to give you racing tips. A nice little throwback to the Saturday morning cartoon. Now the 4th cup is the Horror Cup. Just take a look at that name there. Horror. Dude, eat my fucking dick. Oh, Tails, the fox, why? Dude, this is comical. Oh my god, this is insanity. What the f*** hit me? What the f***? We're in the sewer scrapes of Curian Mansion with toxic waste bubbling below us. After passing by these foul beasts, it's to the outside and back in the sewers again. I was stuck in 4th and 5th place during this race, and getting an all-star item in the 2nd lap pretty much solidified those spots for me. I did have a brief moment where I crept up to 3rd in the final lap, but I hit a zombie in my blind spot and got 4th. The horrors didn't stop there though, because Lost Palace was a nightmare of epic kart racing proportions. I got the beating of a lifetime from the CPUs, hardly managing to get any place higher than 5th. That's happened a few times already, but Lost Palace awakened something in these guys. I wanted to finish this cup before signing off for the night, but after the short stint of pain I endured, I decided it just wasn't worth it. Upon my return, I started from the beginning, this time getting 2nd place in sewer scrapes, and a full body cast in Lost Palace. I love this game! I just could not keep from getting mollywopped, and worst of it all, the music stopped. So I couldn't at least feel the sunshine and have it brighten up my day. I suffered through this one track for nearly an hour. The few times I managed to get above 4th place, there was an answer in the form of an item or broken game track design. It didn't take long for me to conclude that I needed to take a break from this madness. So I skipped ahead to the Samba Cup to clear my head and get out of this rut. Rocky Coaster was a bit rocky starting out. Some of the lengthy turns were tough to move through, and there's added obstacles that'll get in your way and were almost unavoidable for me. Oh yeah, and there's this speaker that just blows you off the track sometimes. That is so cool, thanks! I tried to find a good way to get through this track, but there wasn't too much I could do. Sometimes hitting a spider or swinging axe was just gonna happen. But in one try on the 3rd lap nearing the end, Tails gave me an opening to give him the old speaker homing missile combo, and the rest is history. Oh my god.
Yes! 1st place! Let's go!
Highway Zero let me continue on the path to victory with their plentiful boost pads. Seriously, by the third lap, nobody could touch me. This is a pretty good example of why I opted not to drift boost. Their boosts can be too broken if they're frequent enough. Deadly Route was true to its name and gifted me a wonderful all-star item early in the first lap, locking me into a race of mediocrity. I was prepared to take fourth and cut my losses, but somehow pulled off third place right at the very last second. Last track is an ocean ruin, and by ruin, I mean the game's audio. It's a good thing the audio is the only thing that got ruined here, because this track was easy as pie. Well, there was a few less than desirable moments.
What is happening right now?
Still, I got first place and added another gold trophy to my cabinet. I planned to finish the Horror Cup last for reasons, and started the beginning of the end with the Monkey Cup. Third time at the casino and bingo party, because Sonic is mostly known for his line of casinos and has no other level references for tracks. Bingo party brought some of the fun from Roulette Road with rough turns, and added a cross-section where you can potentially run into someone and kill your speed. But even if you can avoid that, you might just hit a poker chip instead.
You don't know I'm saving. Oh, no!
While it wasn't a particularly tough track, I didn't do so well and got 6th. 3 points was just not enough, but I wanted to continue. Maybe Lava Lair wouldn't be one of the absolute worst tracks I've ever had the displeasure of playing through, and I could walk away from it with a crisp 10 points.
I didn't even make it up the hill? How is that even possible?
Well, we got no more items for the rest of the race.
Son of a mother duck.
Why is it like that? That was just a little taste of the horrors to come. And I wasn't even in that cup. Lava Lair was not optimized for this challenge. I mean, none of the tracks were, but this place was just a straight up mess. And it wasn't the fact that I got all-star items out the wazoo, but the gaps you have to clear throughout the race caused trouble for no reason. It also didn't help that this track had no boosts outside of the ones used before making a big jump. It didn't take very long for me to figure out that this track was one I would just have to accept a low placement. There was almost nothing I could do about that. So because that's a complete bust, I started over and began to grind out Bingo Party to try and juice up my point count. About an hour in the trenches, I miraculously walked away with 2nd place and continued to my imminent doom. Even though I knew it was futile, I still tried to get at least top 5 in Lava Lair, then quickly came to my senses and settled for 6th place again. Entering Monkey Target, I was in 3rd and only had 7 points behind Shadow in 1st. I had to place high here or at least drag him down with me if possible. This track is truly something special. Everything is all bright and lovely until you reach near the end. You have to make an extremely tight U-turn and then go up a ramp to another U-turn, and then you have to do it a 3rd time. The turns mixed with the inclines slow the ChuChus down immensely. It's like everything these guys struggle to handle, all at the end when it matters most. Oh, and sometimes you just hit nothing at the start of the race and come to a dead stop, so yeah, good times. I would actually make it through to 2nd place thanks to some good items and the ability to drive over terrain without penalties. But Shadow got 1st and, well, it would have taken a miracle to win. But it was still worth a try. I've seen all kinds of crazy things happen while playing racing games.
Son of a bitch.
Thunder Deck is the last track and through another part of Final Fortress. And yes, it looks like the other 2 tracks spaced in this area, but I don't care all that much. I got to listen to Eggman's theme from Sonic Adventure 2, and that's enough for me. For my first time in this track, I was keeping up a great pace and maintained 1st place throughout most of the 2nd lap. While it didn't work out in the end, that gave me some reassurance that this cup wasn't lost just yet. In my 2nd playthrough, everything was aligning just how I needed it to. I took the lead and noticed that Shadow had been bonked and put back a little bit. Unfortunately, I reacted too well to Amy creeping up on me and spun her out with my loud-ass horn. This would push her back and put Shadow in 2nd place, costing me the cup. Here we go again. This time, I breezed through Bingo Party, taking 1st place for the very first time there. Then I got 6th place yet again in Lava Lair. At Monkey Target, I got 1st place uncontested. I don't know why it was such a wash, but sometimes it's best not to question it. Even though I had 2 1st place finishes, I was only in the lead by 1 point. Curse you, Lava Lair. This means I basically have to get 1st in Thunder Deck now. But I did that moments ago, so my chances must be pretty good, as long as the audio stays on.
What better way to end this than in silence?
Well, at least I didn't have to worry about that for too long.
Oh, God. Okay, wait. Yes, let's go, baby.
For beating the final cup, I got sent to the end credits, But it wasn't over yet. The Horror Cup was waiting ever so patiently for me to come back from more suffering, and so it began, trekking through the murky sewers. I got hit with the all-star item of despair, but persevered and started things off with a third-place finish. Then it was back to my favorite track. Only now, the Sonic R music was bumping, the vibes were immaculate, and I f***ed up trying to pass through the shortcut, forcing a reset. I should have known that skipping that shortcut was the key to success, because the moment I dropped it, I hit an unthinkable second place, which put me in a tie for first. Now I'd be getting into new territory. I just hope it doesn't have anything to do with drifting. Oh geez, well, at least the music should be. That's also how it's going. Actually, the drifts in this track aren't so bad. In fact, sometimes you can just float over and skip them altogether. No one else mattered to me in this race besides Amigo. We traded first place back and forth until the last lap when I got flip turned upside down and ran into a sign. I caught back up near the end and tried to land the no drift special, but got invis-walled. Then I repeated this mistake on my second time through because I just love throwing at the very last second when everything is nearly locked up. But on my third time through, I was crushing it and didn't even entertain the idea of trying to clip through that wall again. Amigo ended up in second, keeping our points ever so close together. Unfortunately for him, the final track is in Rokaku Hill, which has a shortcut in it that's so useful and hardly utilized by the CPUs. Hitting this shortcut in all 3 laps gave me one of the easiest wins of this entire challenge. Now with all the cups completed, the credits surprisingly rolled again, and I proved that you can beat Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing only using the ChuChus. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that this maddening playthrough with the ChuChus brought you some joy, because I sure was starving for some during a lot of points in this challenge. This is certainly one of the racing games of all time, and one that I won't soon forget. I do wish that some of the other featured franchises got tracks in this game. We really didn't need 3 Casino and Eggman tracks. But hey, it only took Sega 15 years to realize that. Just look at Sonic Crossworlds. Now that's a racing game. I'm sure I'll get to that sometime soon. But in all seriousness, this game is pretty fun, and it's well worth giving a try. Just don't bother with the Steam release. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Also, I stream all of my challenge runs live on my Twitch channel and here on YouTube. If you'd like to check that out, be sure to subscribe or follow me on Twitch. The link to my Twitch channel, along with links to my other social media accounts, can be found in the description. If there's a challenge run you'd like to see, you can also check out the description for a direct link where you can submit your ideas. Thanks again for watching, everyone. See you in the next video. Sonic says, when stealing from your mom's purse, be sure to only take a couple of dollars so she won't actually know that any of her money's missing.